So welcome everybody. And I just realized my schedule for this Q&A is clashing with the World Cup. So for all the footy fans, I'm sorry for the clash, but I promise um, I won't take much of your time. We should be brief on this Q&A session. So let me just double check before we start to see if everyone can hear me on the chat across the different platforms. Can anyone chat? Type yes, type 0 if you cannot hear me, and 1 if you can hear me. Okay, let's do the other way around. Type 1 if you can hear me on the chat, 0 if you cannot hear me. I'm waiting for the chat. I think it will take another 2 or 3 minutes to start, just so I can make sure you can hear me. There might be some latency. Maybe that's why I'm not seeing anything on the chat. If you've just joined, can you just type 1 if you can hear me, 0 if you cannot hear me. Maybe I should probably type this. If you can hear me. And 0 if you cannot. This is the first time we are using this platform for live streaming, so I needed to make sure. Okay, maybe what I should do is to try to go to get another browser just to see. We'll start in about 3 minutes, just to make sure everyone can hear me. We go on YouTube. Okay, I can hear myself, so I think that's all right. At least on YouTube. Let me check on LinkedIn. And let me check on Substack as well, just to make sure. Okay, if you are joining, I'm just trying to check to make sure everyone can listen to me. So please type 1 if you can hear me, and 0 if you cannot hear me. According to my test, I can hear myself by pretending to log into the other platforms, but yes, I just need to make sure. If not, then I will just start. Let me give it a little bit more. Where is everyone tuning in from? You should have access to the chat. That's what I'm worried about, because I don't see anything on the chat. No one is typing, unless everyone is on listening mode. If you are on one of the platforms, YouTube or LinkedIn, can you please type on the chat so I can be sure that we are on? I tested it, and we should be on now. Yeah, on the thing I can see there are 3 people from YouTube. YouTube guys, can you type 1 if you can hear me, 0 if you cannot hear me? Oh, okay, we'll give it 2 or 3 minutes before we start, just to make sure before the others join. And I think we might have mixed up with the times as well because of the this time zone change. So maybe some people, especially on Substack, I could see from the counter uh, on Substack it says we will start in 53 minutes. So I might have to go live later on Substack. Okay. Some I'm on YouTube. Yeah. Anyone else can hear? Yeah. Bob, thank you. Thank you, Bob. Good to see you again. Yeah. Thank you, Bob. Let me just check on LinkedIn just to make sure. Might be time zone mixed up as well. No, I don't think so. It also says live. So I'll hang on to see if more people join. This is probably to do with the scheduling, the mix up between GMT and the old time. We are now in BST. It's my fault. Mm. I see 3 people on YouTube. Thank you for joining, the guys on YouTube. In particular, thank you, Bob. Good to see you. We'll give it 2 minutes. If not, we'll start. And if the rest join later, I will just redo the brief again for them. So you guys, you can dial off. Let me pull up my slides. Okay, yeah, I got an email. Well, not an email. There are quite few of them. Yeah, so it seems like the calendar mixed up has extended to others. So they think the session would start in about 1 hour. So what I will do, I'll probably start with you guys, because you joined, and then I will hang on to do the rest. Just share the screen. I'm gonna go full screen. Yeah, I hope you can see the screen. Let me just double check on YouTube. All good here. Yeah, thank you. Can you all see these slides? Yeah, okay. Yeah, screen looks good. Okay, so welcome to this abstract space brief. And thank you for taking your time and your patience as well. And my sincere apologies for your for the clash on schedule with the World Cup starting in the United States. So yeah, or is it Mexico? I'm not sure where the first match is happening, but I know it's happening right now. So yeah, welcome to Abstract Space Brief. So the idea around the abstract space is really to have something that goes beyond the ordinary podcast. So we want to have some sort of research-led discussion across mathematics, AI, and additionally geopolitics. This is something that we added in light of our recent series on the situation in the Middle East. We think geopolitics is very important issue to consider as technologists because geopolitics has impact in technology, and technology has impact on geopolitics as well. So it is a very important issue to cover. So we plan to cover that, and of course we plan to cover quantum computing, cybersecurity, and other societal issues that we face today. Um, in the broadest terms, there are three categories that this series will be focusing on. The first one is on the mathematical side, where we will focus on stuff like formalization, verification, and automated reasoning. On the AI, society, and geopolitics, we will focus on the capabilities of generative AI, their impact in society, in particular in terms of like inequality, work inequality, because there being a lot of discussion nowadays about how AI is going to impact money roles that exist in the job markets. So this is something that we'll be looking to cover in this series. And the other thing is education as well. This is very close to us, being education providers. It is definitely something very important for us. How does the AI impact the education infrastructure that we have nowadays? We see this a lot in our case, online education on QF Academy. Um, the other thing is misinformation warfare. How does AI is being used or potentially could be used to to be weaponized in order to deceive people? In the like 5 years ago, we were having debates about the role of social media networks, right? Their algorithms, how they can help propagate misinformation. Well, now we have a situation where the thing AI, these systems can help make the situation even worse than it was 5 years ago. So this is something that we'll be looking at a lot. Um, Governance and strategic capacity is something, especially at this also falls in the geopolitical side of things. Where countries, what capacities and regulations that countries have um, in place or are developing in order to rein on the development of AI technologies. So this is something that we will be looking at, of course, to cover in this series. Um, Emerging technologies like quantum computing, cryptography, and the broader cybersecurity, of course, because this is very close to us as well. Not at least the parent company of quantum formalism, Zyco Group. We are involved in cybersecurity, so and quantum computing as well. So we'll be looking at the state of art quantum algorithms. What is the current state of art in quantum algorithms, especially for near-term devices, because as some of you will know, the current devices that we have are not the holy grail devices. That's why John Preskill coined them NISQ devices. I believe it stands for noisy intermediary scale quantum. Yeah, so these are like very primitive devices, but nevertheless, we would like to learn what sort of interesting algorithms that people are developing for these near-term devices, but also what sort of algorithms that people are developing for long-term devices, right? For fault-tolerant quantum computation. The other thing that we'll be looking at is privacy enhancing technologies, stuff like fully homomorphic encryption, federated learning, zero knowledge proofs, all these other things that are very pertinent to the modern state of art security landscape. So these are the broader brackets of topics that we plan to cover in this series. How does the conversation will happen when we invite a guest? First of all, we will mostly invite researchers working at the frontier of these topics. So we will be inviting ideally people who published interesting papers that we think you should be aware of, and then we come in and they try to distill the paper for us. So we'll be looking at stuff like what a paper benchmark model or arguments show, right? Versus what the marketing department of, say, a company says. We've seen this in quantum computing, for example, where researchers from companies, I won't name any companies, right? Because not just one company does this. It's like multiple companies. They publish a paper, and then there's the result, but then the results are lost in translation between going from the researchers to the marketing department. So in other words, this is something that we call hype. So this is something that we will be emphasizing a lot, impressing the guest to distill the actual result from the hype. We'll also, of course, look at what sort of working assumptions that the paper is based on, right? Because that's very important to understand to the paper and to be able to distill the key results. Also important is the guest's own view about where things are heading, of course. So we'll be asking for their crystal ball to see where things are heading in terms of development over the next 3 to 5 years, or even in a much more longer time horizons, let's say in about a decade, for instance. And most importantly, this is what makes this series very special, is live audience. We really want people to participate and ask meaningful questions. This is one of the I think the gaps from like a traditional podcast, where everything is pre-recorded and you as an audience member, you just watch. You don't have the opportunity to ask questions. So this is something that we want to address. We want to be able to have a live session where we bring in the researcher who wrote whatever paper, and we want to give you the opportunity to ask direct questions to them and grill them. One of the other very important features of our series, these are basically designed to help, especially for sessions that are very mathematically heavy. These sessions are designed to help community members, people coming in to join, especially the ones that we invite on stage, to distill the basic foundational stuff that the conversation will be about, the paper, in order to give them a better chance to ask questions, meaningful questions. So say, for example, we have a guest to come and talk about a paper on topological data analysis, for instance, or topological deep learning, right? It's going to be very hard for the audience to follow the conversation without knowing the basics, building blocks of the subjects, on topological data analysis, for example. You need to ideally, before you show up for the session, know about basic stuff like what a simplicial complex is, or what singular homology is. Okay, so this is something that we will help the audience a few weeks before to help them digest a bit about the topic, so that when they show up, they can follow not just they can follow the conversation, but they can also give us very useful insights, and also questions, follow-up questions for the guest. So this is a feature of this abstract space that we want to really emphasize. The other thing that I would like to say is we designed this series in order to give flexibility to the guests, so that they don't have an excuse to say no, right? So we ask them, what time are you available, so we can schedule the lives around their availability, as opposed to ping-ponging around with the email, oh no, I'm available this, what about this, what about this time, what about this date, and so on. So we want to make it just very, very very easy for the guest to accommodate their time schedule. So naturally, this also will be like, it means that maybe some of you might be able to attend some sessions because of time zone issues, but others will not be able to attend. But this is the compromise that we have to make in order to make sure that we always have interesting guests coming in, and there is no conflict of interest with their scheduling. And the announcements will always be, the dates and the times will always be announced on Substack. So this is another reason why you should subscribe to our Substack. Where to follow? Well, you have 3 platforms to follow to us on these series. The first one is on Substack. This is what we recommend, because you can submit questions in advance if you are not able to attend, and we will address them during the live Q&A. And you also get the opportunity to be invited to join on stage. So we'll send out an email for people to express interest in joining on stage. So it's definitely the best way that we recommend for you to join this series is to just subscribe to our Substack newsletter. The other thing is, you can always watch. If you are not interested in asking questions, you just want to be on listening mode, well, you can do that on YouTube and on LinkedIn. And the first session will be on July 9th with Professor Valerio Capraro, where we'll be discussing generative AI and the impact on socioeconomic inequality and policy making. He has a paper on this that I will follow up with with the notes, so you can go and take a look. But he will be our first guest, and then I won't announce the other guests, but we already have quite few, about 5 or 6 guests already lined up. So yeah, we have very, very exciting conversations with the top researchers across these 3 fields that I've highlighted. And that's it for the brief. I will stop sharing now, and I will go to Q&A session. And as I said, because there is a mix up with time, for those who are on now, you have the opportunity to ask the questions, and then you can leave, because I will stay here for another hour just to make sure that I can do the brief for the others as well, the ones that missed it because of the time zone mixed up. Yeah, but before we actually start, my colleague Jack Novak just received a leaked video from one of the AI labs. So this is exclusive from QF Academy. Okay, so more precisely, the leak is about how these AI labs they do pre-training in respect to the erdos problems, because they've been publishing a lot of papers about erdos. So here's the exclusive how they do the training, the pre-training. Let's see if I can put this for you. I think I have to stop sharing here. Okay, so that's it. This is the end of the thing, the main presentation with this. And with that, I'm open up for questions for those of you who are on now. I know the others will probably show up in about half an hour. So let me see. Any questions? Any questions? Did you like the pre-training from the AI labs? Mm. That's a courtesy from our creative director, Jack Novak. So kudos to her. Mm. Any questions? Well, if there are no questions, we should be back in about, let's see what time it says with the other sessions. It says the thing starts in 32 minutes on Substack. I need to wait for that. So yeah, we'll be back in about half an hour. So Okay, so if you are joining us, welcome. There has been a little bit of a delay on Substack because there was a problem with or there's still a problem with the streaming software. So there's nothing we can do right now to fix it. So I'm afraid we won't be able to stream directly to Substack, but this recording will be available later. And yours and on Substack have been sent an email so they can check on YouTube. So sorry for this, YouTube and LinkedIn as well. That's the other option. So I'll hang on for another minute or so. And then after that, I will just go through the presentation, the introduction to the abstract space series. And then if there is no question, we end here because I'm aware that the scheduling is clashing with the World Cup. So yeah, most people are probably now watching the inaugural World Cup match between Mexico and South Africa. So yeah, I don't blame you, but you can always watch the replay again. I'll hang on for another minute or so, and then I will get started. Okay, so I am back. I think I will just proceed. It is what it is. This issue with the Substack, so I'm afraid um, we were unable to stream directly through Substack. We'll try to troubleshoot and see what's happening. The idea was really to use this a third-party software so we can also simultaneously stream to both Substack but also to YouTube and LinkedIn. But it seems like there was an issue, particularly with Substack, that we'll have to investigate and see if we can troubleshoot before the next session. So let me just share my screen so we can crack on. Dun, 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 dun. You see a screen share in a minute. Dun, 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 dun. Actually, before breaking news, our great Jack Novak, the comms lead at QF Academy, was sent a leaked video from one of the big AI labs on how they do pre-training for the Erdos problem. So this is breaking news, exclusive to Just QF. I'll play it for you before we get started. I'll play it a few times indeed. Okay, one more. Okay, another go, just in case. Okay, there you go. That's how pre-training for the Erdos problem is done at one of the big AI labs. I won't put on names because this is a classified leak. So well done to my colleague Jack Novak for sharing this with us, and well done to the source as well, the confidential source within the big AI lab. Okay, jokes aside, let me just share the screen for you. Yeah, I hope you can see. Let me check just to make sure. I just want to make sure that the screen is. Can you just everyone now on the thing on the platforms? If you are seeing the slides, just type 1, and of course, if you can hear me as well. If you type 1, that's all right. Yeah. So I'm sure that I'm sharing the slides. Okay. Yeah, it seems to be good to go. So thank you for joining this brief on abstract space. First of all, the idea around the series, this thing of abstract space, is really to have some sort of research-led conversation across multiple fields, obviously including mathematics, but also AI, geopolitics, quantum computing, security, and other things that touch on key issues on the society. So the idea, the brand abstract, indeed, comes from this idea of really this series being multidisciplinary in mathematics and abstract space is something that's stripped down to its simplest form and that encompasses so many other things. So let me just put it in more simple terms with a concrete example. The abstract definition of a vector space is well known, right? The axioms of vector space, but within the class of vector spaces, there are different special type of vector spaces, right? You have, for example, Hilbert spaces, you have Banach spaces, and so on. So this deliberate naming of the series is really to reflect the breadth that we want to be able to cover, this interdisciplinary approach that we want to take in order to invite different researchers from across domains that overlap with mathematics. So in broader terms, we can summarize the series in 3 categories. We can place the topics of our conversations with our guests within 3 categories. One is on the mathematics proof and formalization. So this basically will cover, conversations around formalization, verification, and automated reasoning in the mathematical sense. There's been a lot of hype around about AI models being able to prove open problems, to being able to solve open problems. So this is one of the areas that we'll be looking at a lot by inviting both people who are working in these things, but also people who are skeptic about the application of current models in mathematical research. The other broader category is AI, society, and geopolitics. This is really to look at the impact of generative AI in society, um, in stuff like inequality, work, education, information warfare, governance, and strategic capacity. Um, I want to highlight inequality and education, for instance, because there has been a lot of um, conversations around the impact that AI is having in the workforce, with a lot of companies laying off employees, citing AI, the capability of existing AI models, as the reason for doing so, for making the employees redundant. So this is something that we'll be discussing a lot on the education. We ourselves, because of QF Academy, we see a lot of the impact of AI being used in in not just assisting the students in their study, but sadly we have seen also students trying to sneak in AI written work. Uh, so how do we make sure that um, AI in education brings productivity and helps our students gain knowledge as opposed to diluting their capabilities. So this is one of the things that we'll be looking at. The other thing is the other broader category is on the quantum side, in particular cryptography related stuff. So on also in the broader sense of quantum computing, we'll be looking at people working on quantum algorithms, in particular uh, algorithms for both near-term devices, but also people, working on algorithms for fault-tolerant quantum hardware whenever it becomes available. So we'll have a lot of researchers along those lines come in, and of course, including people working on error correction, and also in the security side, post-quantum cryptography, in particular. Now that NIST has the standards available, um, how do organizations are going about, what are the tactics for moving from existing cryptographic systems towards post-quantum, whilst mitigating the implementation risks, because this is one of the biggest problems now facing post-quantum migration. From like what we learned from the past, whenever new cryptographic systems come in, say for example when elliptic curve cryptography was in its infancy, well, the mathematics of elliptic curve is very secure. Okay, so the elliptic curve cryptography was standardized, but there was still a lot of issues in terms of integrating elliptic curve into production environments with implementation errors. So this is also a risk that many organizations will face in terms of post-quantum cryptography. The schemes are thought to be safe, but being safe in theoretical sense, in mathematical sense, is not the same as being safe in terms of your implementation of the cryptographic algorithm being correct, right? So this is one of the things that we'll be inviting cryptographers to come and give their opinion on this. Um, so, in the broader sense, as I hinted in my in the previous slide, we will mostly be inviting researchers. These are like both researchers, but also professionals. Doing interesting stuff. For researchers, we would particularly be interested in inviting them if we see an interesting paper that they have co-authored or they have written, where we'll go over, distill what the results of the papers are, and also what the working assumptions behind the paper are, the motivations and so on, and most importantly, the guest's view of where the field is moving in the short term horizon, say between 3 to 5 years, but also in the long term. And most importantly, we will have live audience that we will source from our community um, to come on live on stage, like me now on stage here, to ask questions directly. And we really encourage, uh, um, very daring questions, to challenge the guest in order to make the conversation um, more valuable to everyone. So not like just asking generic questions. And for that, in order to help increase the chances of having very interesting questions coming from the audience, what we'll be doing for certain sessions that are very technical, say, for example, sessions that are mathematically heavy, what we will do is we will bring um, we'll do pre-session briefings. This means that before a few weeks, 2 or 3 weeks before the sessions, we will share resources with the community, list like paper notes, some lecture notes, or videos or whatnot, whatever they need in order to have some sort of a prerequisite of the paper that will be discussed during the session, so they can follow the conversation. Because it's going to be very hard if, say, for example, we have a guest to um, brief us on, say, topological data analysis, right? It's going to be hard to follow the conversation, especially the technical conversation, if you don't know the basic building blocks of topological data analysis, right? Say, for example, you don't know, you need to know stuff like, first of all, what a simplicial complex is, or what singular homology, or more general, what homology groups are, and this type of stuff, right? So we will be helping you, especially for the audience that we will invite on stage. We will try to make it easier for you to have some sort of a prerequisite, so that you can follow the conversation, but also be able to ask meaningful questions, as opposed to just asking generic basic questions. Okay. Another feature of this series is that we will have flexible scheduling across time zones. The reason we are doing this is because we want to give the power to the guest, so that we work around their schedule. This basically means it makes it harder for them to say no, right? So it also means that maybe some of you will be able to follow certain type of certain episodes, certain live shows, whereas others will probably not be possible for you. So, but that's okay. That's the compromise that one has to make, right, in order to make sure that we have interesting guests for you. So the session schedules will be shared on Substack via email. So this is another reason for you to go on Substack and subscribe on email. It's free. You just need to type in your email, and so you can receive the invitations via email. Where to watch the live shows? Well, the Substack stuff, this is something that we have to check, because ideally we need to be able to stream to other platforms as well, so we're not just streaming to Substack. So we will try to troubleshoot this, because obviously today we were not able to stream on Substack. So what we'll do, we'll do some testing to make sure that everything is okay, so that you can watch it direct from Substack. But plan B alternative is we will always make sure that we have YouTube and LinkedIn as well stream, so you can watch it from those platforms. The recordings will be always uploaded to Substack. Okay, the recordings and the references and the follow-up notes of each session. So the first session that we will be, the opening session of this series will be on July 9th with Professor Valerio Capraro, where we will be talking about generative AI and their impact in socioeconomic inequality and policy making. This is because Valerio is an author of a paper. Well, we will share the paper in our note, so you can you can digest it before you show up for the live session, so that we can have a nice debate on stage, in case you want to directly engage with our guest. So yeah, the other thing is the final thing. Um, no, it's not skipping. Well, thank you, and I'm open for questions if you have any questions. And I'm aware of the time now because of the mixed up as well. Not all of you are able to join in. I'm sorry for that, but I'll hang on for 1 minute or so to see if there is any questions. If not, the recording will be available anyway, so you can ask questions. There is a, by the way, there's a latency from what uh, from if you are watching from LinkedIn and YouTube. When you type in your questions, it might take a few seconds for me to see them. So that's why I'm hanging on. So please feel free to ask any questions. I will hang on for another, actually 2 minutes, just to make sure. If not, then we can end the session here, and I will see you on July 9th with our first guest. Any questions? Okay, there was a question here from Bob Miller. Let me show it on screen. How often do you expect to have these sessions? Well, this is the thing. We would definitely like to have at least one session per month. Okay, but sometimes maybe we'll have 2 or 3. This will depend on the availability of our guests. This is one of the reasons why I was saying let me go back again, the flexibility on scheduling, because we really don't want to make it hard for people to come and be our guest. So whenever their schedule allows, we will make sure that we'll be there, even if it's midnight. We'll be there. So yeah, so that's I hope that answers your question, Bob. Thank you. Any other questions? As I said, I'll hang on again just to make sure, just in case, to make sure that more people have any questions. If not, we can end it here, and then I will no questions. Come on, you must have a question. No. Okay, so we have let me check the chat actually. Well, by the way, this is a new platform, so um, it's it's a learning curve as well for me to see here. It seems like there is a bit of limitations with probably the API calls that this platform is doing with LinkedIn and the other platforms. So yeah, um, it's interoperability is not that great to see the live chat questions. This is one of the reasons that we will emphasize a lot on bringing people on board on stage, so they are on stage like I am right now. So yeah. Um, let me just go. I'll give another 2 minutes just to make sure. Come on, ask a question. Any questions? If you arrive late through stream, that's okay as well. You can still ask questions, and then I will probably go back to the slides and refer you to whatever point that you would like to know. Let's see. Seems like okay. Well, if there is no question, then I'll give another 20 seconds, a final opportunity for you to ask a question. If not, then we just leave it here. You can watch the recording anyway. So yeah, and yeah, we will make sure that we'll send the invitations and the details about the next guest way in advance, so you can plan around your schedule. We would really like to have you on stage. Yeah. So okay, so we leave it here. Thank you so much for joining, and yeah, see you on July 9th for our first ever session. Bye. Have a good day.